There it is.
Oh, it worked.
There it is. You're on. You made it.
Maybe I'm not in Instagram jail.
Well,
What's up, buddy?
nothing much. Yeah, thanks for taking the time and getting
Uh,
on.
buddy, I'm honored. I told you. Let me set up my tripod. Hold on one second. Oh, actually, that's kind of cool right there. How about that? Yeah,
That
let's do
works.
that.
Dry fire targets in the back and everything.
Yeah, that was actually by accident. Yeah, let's do a couple more of those.
There you go. All right, so we'll kind of start it off with some people in
All right.
here. For the people that don't know who you are, just I don't know, give a little intro to you. What do you do professionally? What's your name? You shoot USPSA. What do you do outside of work? Yeah, give me the
Yes.
rundown.
Yeah. So Tyler Ostholthoff, founder of PGC Training Group, used to be called CAS, and I'm sure you will talk about why I changed the name. But been a cop in Boston for about 4 years. Before that, I was at Northeastern University as a cop for a year. Before that, I was at the Transit Police for a couple years. Um, Before that, I used the GI Bill to get a master's in Homeland Security with a concentration in um, domestic intelligence to like support policing post 9/11, kind of counterterrorism plus policing. Um, and Before that, I was Marine Corps. Nothing crazy. I was a pogue for those watching. I was a ground intel officer, but they did send us to the infantry school, which was cool, so we could like speak the language for the people we support, and then they send us to uh, it's called like a scout sniper platoon commander's course. I was not a sniper. I was nowhere near it. The enlisted guys do all that work. But I did get to um, lead the sniper platoon, which is kind of where the training itch um, began. Uh, Before that, I was a super liberal fucking weirdo. Went to a liberal arts school in Mass.
The truth.
Yeah. So there've been a lot of changes in the last probably 10, 15 years, but yeah, the company, just like you guys and the rest of our network, I think we are pushing hard. I am pushing hard along with the guys that I just brought on to change the way that firearms training is done at police departments, and then because we believe that those that have an LTC and carry a gun every day should kind of get the same um, to the same skill level. They're how they protect themselves, their family, their friends, even in the state of Massachusetts, which is, I think, a little more gun friendly than most believe, contrary to popular belief. But we think they deserve the same training. So, yeah, we're here uh, to help folks maybe find more efficient ways to train, and realize that they can probably shoot way faster while also being accurate than they thought.
Mm.
So
Yeah, the
that's me.
performance shooting way is the way of the future.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
we've had a lot of talks about that. So yeah, I've been looking forward to this.
yeah, no, that's definitely a resume. I definitely don't have half that resume.
Yeah, I don't know
But
about
yeah.
that. It's words on paper, buddy. That's about it.
Well, to dive straight into it, you kind of brought it up, but one of the first things I want to ask you is about your big change, as I called it in that original post. But kind of talk to me like, what was your thought process through like going from CAS to PGC, and you added on a lot of good guys onto your team as well, and I'd love to just learn more about your decision making on that.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't easy. Uh, and this will probably end up as a segue into probably maybe your next question about like who should be teaching and who shouldn't be. But so I was one of those guys, a cop that was pretty good at shooting, but realized pretty quick that the minimum standard that most qualifications at the PDs I worked at is not enough. It's the bare minimum, and at the end of the day, I think it's just to protect departments legally, right? That's what I think qualifications are are really about, to get us just familiar enough with the gun that we can carry it on the street and know how to load it and pull it out. So we thought there was more to that, right? So we started what we called CAS Training Group, which stood for the Critical Application of Shooting Skills. Uh, Back in 2020, I guess, the spring of 2020, and the idea there was we spent about a year and a half. We designed a bunch of standards from scratch.
Little paper
Using
drills.
paper drills and steel drills.
Yeah.
We used a lot of the force science research, right? The data to incorporate the distances and the targetry, things that we thought cops should be able to do, right? And at the time we thought we were pretty sexy by using all of that force science research. Um, we built these drills, these standards, and then what we did was we took a bunch of cops, probably 20, 25 cops, fed, stadies, local guys, and we basically just put them through these drills, and they were like, these are hard, but they were all in sort of agreement with us that, like, I think that cops should be able to do this.
Mm.
And you can apply that same concept to, like, everyday carriers, right? Dudes like yourself that like to shoot, want to carry a gun to protect themselves and their families. So we decided to start a company. And we kind of based the pistol and the carbine courses around, like, the idea that we should be able to shoot these drills. I thought practical shooting was fucking stupid, and I thought competitive shooting was stupid. I thought Lucas Bodkin was stupid and a fucking nerd. And yeah, I was one of those guys that said that doesn't apply to us because those fucking targets don't shoot back.
That's so funny because my experience starting out was literally with a sidecar holster, meeting Angel at my first match. We'll go dive into our
Was it
starts and
really?
competition. But, oh yeah, dude, I still run the T-Rex arm sidecar for my EDC.
I mean, they're great holsters.
Yeah.
And
I'll actually be, funny enough, shooting in the same squad with Lucas in Tennessee
oh, hell yeah.
in a handful of months. So I'll finally get to meet the guy that makes the holster that I use every day. But
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
yeah.
I've honestly always wanted to meet him in real life just to see if he's kind of the same way he is in all the content. I'm sure he is because he's putting out content every day. But yeah, so that we thought we were sort of paving the way, and we did okay. We had some cops out, we had civilians out, and then I took some classes from some dudes who I'd never honestly heard from until maybe a month before the class. In this order: Scott Jadlinski, Rick Crawley, and Paul Costa from AHT. And then at ORD, I trained with Nick Young for the first time. And after training with those dudes for like a year, every day I thought about just quitting because it was obvious to me and to the guys that started the company with me that, like, we were so far out of our element as far as, like, what these dudes could do. And the people that came to these classes, most of them were cops, the things that they could do. And yeah, I mean, there was a long time there where I was like, I'll be perfectly honest, like, I don't know if I should even be teaching because we didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah. I've always said, like, even the people that don't want to be super gamers in competition, get out to one and earn the perspective because everyone thinks they're good until you shoot against strangers.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize that the random electrician or the random plumber, the random dude that sits in the office cubicle 9 to 5 is actually like a masterclass shooter for some random reason.
That's like you. I mean, that's literally that's like you. And you've been shooting for what, 2 years?
Yeah, just two little over 2. Yeah.
It's honestly very impressive, and I'm training with you this weekend for a reason. But yeah, I think about like, if I'd known some of these things about performance and what you could do as far as speed and accuracy are concerned, and if I'd known, like, about the concept, obviously, that it's like that you should be failing, you should be missing, accepting C zone and D zone hits, but then understanding, like, what you have to do with your eyes and your hands, to catch the accuracy up to the speed at which you want to be at. Had I known this, 15 years ago,
Different world,
dude, it really was like, it was a fucking coming to Jesus moment, dude. Like, I talk about it with the guys that work that like to train. I've talked about it with you guys, obviously, with the dudes on our network. Like, there was a moment there where we were like, I don't know that we should be teaching because we are that far behind. But and this was before I even shot my first match, bro. Like this was just like this is the power of your eyes that hold all that bullshit about smashing the trigger. You know, the stuff that we used to teach. Like it's not totally bullshit, but it's mostly bullshit. You know, the power of your grip and fighting to get the gun to be more predictable. Like we were like, you know, felt like we were picking up a gun for the first time,
Yeah.
figuring some of this stuff out.
I don't even
Um,
know if it's all like BS or not, but the real question is there a better way of doing it? Like, are you going to waste 15 years doing one thing to get like 2% better? Or is there a way that you can do it and get really good really fast?
so that so that
That's the real question.
that's like that's one of the only reasons that um that's one of the places that I feel like we do have value, right? And where I offer some value, and you know, some of the guys that we brought on is like I feel like legitimate pain as far as the time and money and ammo that I wasted just trying to be a little bit faster, uh, getting upset when I missed, slowing down to get my hits. Okay, that's pretty good. Now let's just try to do it a little bit faster. I mean, I did that for 10 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, fast forward and the one of the other things that we decided to do, and this was sort of a way to check ourselves, but then also kind of tell the folks in Massachusetts who, you know, who we were trying to cater the company to, cater our attention to tell everyone like, look, it's not that we messed up, but like there are a lot more people out there that know a lot more than we do about shooting, certainly more than I know and knew about shooting. So we're going to try to invite as many fucking people into Massachusetts, which I don't think had really happened before, like
Mm.
legitimately competitive, high level shooters, high level instructors. We decided not only are we're gonna stick with this because I felt like we had a pretty legitimate passion and understanding for how to teach well. But we said we're going to bring as many people into the state as we can. Um, Scott Jadlinski was one of the first. It was John O'Brien that brought him in for the first time. Rick Crawley and Paul Costa from AHT were the first kind of big names we brought here, and then it just sort of snowballed from there. Nick Young came. Um, you know, this we've brought Raul Martinez from Rogue Methods to do the close contact stuff that I think cops need a lot of. We brought in Kita Busi, Sam Callahan. This is right about the time we met you guys too. I know you guys brought in Dave Wampler, the class that I went to with Angel last year, which was an absolute blast to lead up to Area 7.
Dave and Sam are
Um,
beasts.
absolute beasts,
Yeah.
absolute and it's like you know, guys like Nick and Dave and Sam. We've got uh, we've got Donovan Moore coming this year. One of the dudes I've been trying to train with forever. You know, these guys, the way that they think, and even you know, you and Angel, the way that you guys and these guys think about training is not how cops think about it. And a part of our thought process was obviously these guys are going to make me better and the guys on the team better, shooters and teachers, right? But you know, it's a terrible business model. It really is. It's a terrible fucking business model. But they're also right. These people are going to get to see these you know, at this point like over a dozen kinds of shooters and teachers who all buy into this idea of principles based shooting and training, and the idea that you have to go fast and miss, but know how to self diagnose if you want to get truly better. Right, all this stuff that cops hate to hear.
Yeah. I mean, shooting's a skill. If you're going to get better at a sport and tell yourself, I'm never going to try and be good or try and be better, you're never going to improve.
Yeah,
Shooting
100%.
is a shooting a gun is a pure skill. I mean,
100%.
obviously you can learn other things outside of shooting, but if you want to get good at a skill and you're not pushing yourself to failure,
Yeah.
you're never going to get better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care what anyone says. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be able to push your limits and also understand when the wheels fall off, what's causing that.
Right.
Whether it's a certain fundamental or, and then how to isolate that in your training too is
Yes.
super important. Because everyone can, everyone can make a time go on a timer, but do you understand like what you're actually doing and how to improve it, or are you just chasing numbers on a screen?
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, kind of segue a little bit from your background. I'll kind of ask you this first. So I know you've shot a few matches now. You shot Area 7.
Yeah.
We've shot together a few
Mhm.
times. How'd you kind of get your start in competitive shooting? Like, what made the mindset switch to be like, all right, I want to get in this gamer stuff and see what it's all about?
Yeah, so it's all kudos to a buddy of mine, Chris Chang, who works up at SIG. He's a class or master class carry optic shooter now, but he worked for Phil Strader at the time. And 2 years ago, I think I want to say it was late 2023, my first indoor match up there. He'd been trying to get me to go up there since I met him in 2021. Back when I said this is dumb, this is right, and he
Was that
tried.
back when you were one of them liberals or something?
Yeah, I had a fresh transition. Yeah, immediately post
Oh,
transition.
nice.
And he kept saying, just come, right? This is when SIG was starting to do more of the indoor matches. They were regular. I think they were every Wednesday night. Are they still every Wednesday night?
I'm
I
not
wouldn't know.
sure.
I wouldn't know. You have 38 seconds to sign
Yeah,
up. I haven't been able to.
38 seconds, and it's like 2.5 hours for me to drive. So
So
on a weekday night.
he was trying to get me for years, right, to go up there. Um, and after training with those guys specifically that I just mentioned, and I want to say it was after ORD, after training with Nick, and getting to watch Billy Barton shoot and teach for the first time, and getting to meet all these people at Ohio Range Day who were so much better than me, shooters and teachers, right? I was like, and they all shot competitively. Um, I was like, I I'm kind of an asshole not to do this. So I went up there for my first indoor match with Chris. He helped me not DQ. Phil Strader was there. He was like, he's a top level GM. He was like the nicest guy ever. I was having an issue with a Glock magazine, and he came over. Was like, if you shave that down, it'll drop out easier. I was like, yeah, okay, buddy. He like took his fingernail and went like this and fixed it, and I was like, what have I been
Got rough hands.
what have I been missing? Yeah. So it was because a lot of it is right. Like it is ego. Angel says that all the time. Like it's obviously ego, and I don't want to go up there as the dude who's probably going to suck the most with the least experience.
It's a
But
great
they couldn't.
community, though.
It
Like,
is. It
even
is.
having people come in, they're like, a lot of people in their first matches, I'll talk to them. I'm like, I don't care what your expectations are. Like, it's going to be great.
And it
But they're
was.
like, I just don't want to come in last place. And then by the time they leave, they're like, I don't even know what place I was in. I just had a good time, and I'm coming back next week.
Yeah. I didn't have a
Um,
USPSA number yet. The first couple matches, I didn't know how to use practice score.
yeah.
But to your point, right? Like it was great. It was a ton of fun. I didn't I didn't shoot as terribly as I thought I would, right? Which was a decent feeling because it at least validated a little bit that I didn't waste like completely all of my, last 12 or 13 years.
Hey, you at least shoot alphas.
But yeah, I shot alphas all right. Yeah. Everyone's standing there, they're trying to lock the door. I'm finishing the last stage. They're like, all right, buddy, come on.
I didn't know the
Uh
timer could go that high.
yeah, I broke some timers. But yeah, dude, it was a good time and I was hooked. I was hooked. Yeah, I was hooked on it.
So, kind of from your law enforcement background, how do you think competitive shooting can? So, kind of speaking to a perspective of a law enforcement officer that is like kind of how you were a handful of years ago. Like, I'm not competing. I don't care what these guys say. I don't understand how it translates. From someone that's been on both ends or is currently on both ends, how do you think the competitive shooting world translates directly over to, that stubborn cop that doesn't want to get better?
Yeah, I think about this like I literally think about this every day because it can be so hard to talk to cops about it. Let me say this first. Like the first thing is like I used to a lot, but I don't blame the large majority of cops to include instructors who thought like I did, right? Because I did for years. And it because I was stubborn, right? That's cop culture, that's military culture. So I've thought quite a bit about like how to show the value of in particular like the concepts, right, like practical shooting concepts, the things that guys like you and Angel have been doing from the very beginning. Um and I think the best thing about going and starting to shoot matches and then learning from guys who are competitive shooters who shoot matches every week is the best thing I learned, and what I think cops will learn is this idea about how we should be training. The best example I'll give is like this concept of doubles, right? You shoot doubles to learn what you should be doing with your eyes and your hands to get the gun to be more predictable, right? Like it's not necessarily an accuracy drill. Obviously the point is to like get the rounds to stack up on the spot you're looking, right? But that's kind of secondary to
It's more of it's
what the point.
a diagnostic drill, not a drill for like a hit factor.
Exactly. It's a diagnostics drill, right?
Yeah.
And so many cops have said to me and other cops, Joe Assad, Kyle Robbins, the guys who've been shooting and are way better shooting than I am. So many cops have said like, you know, you're shooting like when you shoot the doubles, like you're shooting those way too fast. Like, are you saying that like we should be predicting when we have to draw our gun on the job and, you know, predicting and just hoping that when we press the trigger, like our hands are going to do what we think they're going to do? And you just want us to press the trigger? And it's like, no, that's not what I
Comes
think. And
down to a level of training.
and that's it, right? Like doubles, I think are a good example of this, right? Like is a way to show the value of the concepts and the principles of things like vision and grip and what you have to do to get the gun to behave predictably. It's a tool, right? It's a way. We're not going to go around and shoot everybody with a 1.8 second bill drill. We're not doing that. But the concepts and the way that competitive shooters have been training, they have found a way to see and move and think faster, like way, way faster than anything the law enforcement community and the military community has ever done, right? So in other words, right, like it's just the value that I take and what I try to tell cops is like, this is a way to understand how you should be training to see and press and hold the gun to get it to behave the way you want it, how to see faster, how to move more efficiently, right? It doesn't mean that that's how you're going to do it on the street. But what it will do is help you with the things I just said, right? Like you'll find yourself with this surplus of skill, right? The kinds of stuff that you'll probably never do. You're never going to probably be in some kind of fight that's like a 42 round stage. Where you're ripping, you know, where you're ripping doubles on most targets inside 12 yards, right? Like that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you've trained in that way, you've built up this surplus of skill that has allowed you to see and press and handle the gun in a way that is where you obviously feel super confident, but you won't have to think about that stuff. And you have more space, more bandwidth for shit like tactics and decision making and communication, right? The stuff that typically ends up being the biggest kind of argument that causes the most amount of argument between like the, you know, the competitive shooters and the tactical guys, right? Like the raw skill is what we suck at the most,
Yeah,
right?
the skill should be subconscious.
Exactly.
And I mean, it just goes back to performance training in a way that is someone has to have the mindset of being process driven versus result driven. Like
it's a good way
you
to
do
say
a lot of drills to isolate your training and learn to get better at said skill in training, as opposed to say like, oh, I got this hit factor on this drill, which means like absolutely nothing. Right. I mean, it's different when you're competing because it's the best metric, hit factor, because it measures your accuracy and speed at the same time. But a lot of times, like on the topic of training, you're focused on the process, because when you mess up or you have a bad run on a drill, that tells you something that you can learn from. Like,
exactly. Yep.
I'm pissed if I am only doing good on a drill because I'm probably not working hard enough.
Right.
And I'm definitely not learning much. I mean, sure, I can be working to like perfect something, maybe at like my 90% skill or something like that. Maybe I can be trying to work on my consistency. Yep. But you're trying to get faster, more accurate, like boost those hit factors when you go to compete. If you're not failing on your drills, or if you're not pushing farther, like you're kind of missing the point.
Yes.
As far
Yep.
as like being process oriented in your
Right.
training. Um,
Right.
in my opinion, I mean, that just goes to working for like true performance in your shooting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I mean,
That's spot
training
on.
always isn't sexy. Like a lot of times, like people train and like they're posting all their stuff and like it's cool, right? Like I post a lot of content too, but you got to fail to get
Yes.
better. If you're
Like a
not,
lot.
like I fail way more than I do good. Like
Yeah.
if I filmed my training sessions, people would be like, "What in the world are you
Yeah.
doing?" Because like
Yeah.
I'm failing most of the time because I'm pushing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously I have sections in my training where I'm like, all right, I gotta really hone it in here. Like this is my 100% or this is my 90%. In our training Saturday, we're gonna be doing a lot on like how you like to talk about exploring your
Mm,
skills, exploring certain concepts or techniques. I want to try and teach you how to analytically do that, so you
okay.
have statistics to run your training by.
Yes.
This is something that Sam Callahan talks a lot on, and I was on the Rob Epifania's accelerator program when Sam came on as a guest, and we talked a lot about how to use certain analytics to structure your training, to know what your 100% is, what your 90% is, what is the wheels have fallen off. I have no idea what I just did kind of speed.
Oh, I'll do that.
So yeah,
I'll show you that.
because I know your
No
mind
problem.
likes to work in like it's the matrix. It has numbers floating everywhere around it.
Yeah.
You need to have the feeling.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
sounds
I
awesome.
think
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be
That
good.
and this is like and this is and this is one of the problems, right? Like I work for obviously a pretty big department, and 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 it's hard when you talk about like this is stuff that obviously like they're few and far between, right? The number of cops that you're going to find who want that kind of training, who want to go out and find guys like you and Angel and the guys that you and I both are bringing into Massachusetts. You'll get a couple of those guys, right? But one of the things that I mean, the thing that I am trying to do, and what the guys on the team are trying to do, is find a way to take those principles and make them the way that police department firearm training units train recruits, in the way that we run in service, right? Like make dry fire like using the gym every
Yeah,
day. A lot of departments get an hour to work out. I know the state police does. We don't. At least I don't think we do. But how do we make dry fire part of that same thought
and
process,
it's
right? The only way to do it
crazy to
is
me that people still shame on dry fire. That they're
oh
like,
yeah,
I don't even know what that is. Like that doesn't make you better.
right,
How do you know where you're hitting?
right.
Like
Because
I don't.
they don't know, right?
I
Because
haven't, I
and this
haven't
is the like
formulated a response that's healthy to be able to uh,
yeah.
help.
I was there. I was there. Like like and I'll say that the reason why it was almost like what got me to kind of a couple years ago, what got me to really buy into it was that moment where I said like like I suck,
Mm.
and
It's
like
building perspective, like we talked about with
and
competition.
it's either give up and say I suck and just continue to work, knowing that there are tens of thousands of people that are way better at this than me, or say, wait a minute, like if all these people are this good, couldn't we get cops to be maybe not as good as guys like you and Angel, and to care as much as guys like you and Angel and I do, but we can find a middle ground
Mm.
somewhere, right? And I think that middle ground, we can build that up from just taking the principles, the things that matter most, and making those the things that firearms training is about, right? We don't need cops to go shoot. This might make some people mad, but like cops don't have to go shoot matches. I think if you're an instructor, you probably should shoot a couple so that you can see kind of where your biggest vulnerabilities are. But we're not asking cops to go shoot matches.
No,
We're not.
it's not it's not a necessity, especially if it's. I think it's really good to build your perspective, but if your in-house training is like top notch, you you're learning the right things.
Exactly.
It really comes down to, do you have the personal accountability to take this home and care about it? Like, are
Yes.
you
Yeah.
going to put in effort on your own time? Are you going to go get instruction from reputable instructors? Are you going to invest in your live fire? Are you going to invest your time into dry firing? Are you going to have a plan, or are you just going to go through the motions to check a box and say, yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to?
Right.
Because we know that's very different. Like there's a lot of people that train a lot, but have no idea what they're doing and are just posting it up to like check the box, like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
Yep.
but to kind of segue into what I want to talk about next, it's kind of, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it lately, but it's the topic of like what the difference between an instructor and a coach is.
Mm.
I'd love to hear your take on that. If you think there's a difference at all, if what you think a coach can provide that an instructor can't, and vice versa.
Yeah. It's a great question. And I know we've talked quite a bit about it. And I think the biggest difference is that instructors and we might be getting to the point where like when someone says instructor, like they might also mean coach.
I mean,
But
it's
the
all
question is,
semantics,
it's
if
all
we're being
semantics, right?
honest.
But I think to answer your question, the biggest difference is mentorship,
Mhm.
right? Like an instructor won't necessarily mentor you and think about the teaching in a way that is facilitating your ability to explore, succeed, fail, understand why you failed, and then let you go figure it out again on your own, right? That's a coach does those things. A coach is a true mentor. An instructor is someone, I think, by definition, who is giving instructions, maybe doing good demos, maybe a lights out shooter, and maybe saying, hold the gun like this, move like that, let's go do it. And you either do it right or you do it wrong. And it's, if you do it wrong, it's like, well, just keep trying that. And if you're doing it right, they say, good, now you just have to go faster, right? Like I've been to plenty of training that's like that. And it might sound good, it might feel good, but that's an
And not to
instructor.
say one's better than the other.
No,
I mean,
no, it's
there's instructors that are far better than me, and there's coaches that are far better than me. But
yeah,
it's definitely like if you're in the market as a student, what are
yeah,
you, like? What should you know is the difference, and what should you know like what's going to be more beneficial for you personally?
yeah. I
So
think, and
some
so
people
yeah,
learn better in like a more like just throw it at me. I'm going to kind of do it. I don't want you like standing right next to me telling me super personalized things, ripping my fundamentals apart. Some people don't like to learn like that.
yeah,
Other people, like me personally, like I want that one on one. Like the
yeah,
big group, like I'm kind of looking around like, yeah, they're over there. I'm not really, I think I'm doing it right,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm here to learn. So I could be doing it totally wrong.
yeah,
You might pick up random things from here or there that like make it click for you, because obviously like you've been to classes before, like sometimes an instructor says something and it just clicks for you and you're like,
yes.
oh my god, I that thing I've been struggling with for months, total sense.
And I think
um,
and I think that might be one of the differences between instructing and mentoring, right? Like I don't think, and again, it's semantics, right? Like I think when I think a good instructor, right, and a good coach could probably be the same thing. But if you take the words, if you take those words away, right, the best teachers in my experience, and we've hosted a lot of pretty awesome dudes. The best teachers are mentors,
yeah.
and they help you understand how to think about what's happening. They don't just tell you; they guide you, right? They mentor you. They help you
It's
understand how to think.
personable.
Yeah, exactly. And that takes obviously a ton of understanding about how to shoot and what's required, right? Like if someone's just been doing one technique or two techniques their whole life, a cookie cutter class type of thing, a tactical dude, a Navy SEAL, something, right? Like that person's probably not facilitating an environment that allows you to explore it, but they're also probably not trying to understand like shooter by shooter, like what is this guy's problem versus
Mm.
this guy versus this guy versus this guy, right? Because he's just there to offer his template and
Well,
say, let's do this. A mentor is trying to understand what's going on in Tyler's head and Steven's head and Cameron's head. Based on how the gun is moving, based on how their eyes are moving, based on how they're moving, and in how
right.
the target
Yeah,
looks.
no, definitely. What do you think like So if you're looking for a class, right, or you're looking for maybe like a mentorship program or something like
Yeah.
that, what's something that like somebody should kind of look for to be like, yeah, this person deserves my money, or maybe like this guy, I don't know, like I don't know enough about him.
Yeah.
What do you kind of personally, if you're looking to get training, what do you personally look for?
Uh, Firearms training specifically, just shooting.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a shooting nerd,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can't really speak on anything else.
Yeah, so if I'm trying to get better at shooting, I want somebody who's just going to teach me shooting. Is just going to do shooting, none of the other stuff, and we know what that means. No decision making, no tactics, no scenarios, no nothing. It should be about shooting.
The skill.
Um, the skill and the skill alone, right? And again, this is going to make some people mad, but it's where law enforcement firearms training needs to be at for this very reason. The focus should be narrowly the focus should be very specifically on let's get you faster and more accurate with the gun. So that's the first thing that I look for now, right? Somebody like you, who I'm going out to train with for 5 hours this weekend because I need to get better at moving and seeing faster. You know exactly what I need. You know that I have struggled to live in this environment of being uncomfortable. That's what I need.
Right.
With that said, I think you should also find somebody who can get you to that feeling of being uncomfortable without making you feel like total fucking shit,
Yeah.
while also helping you understand what you have to do to catch up the accuracy to the speed that you're at, right? This was one of the biggest epiphanies for me training with Sam Callahan and then Angel and Dave Wampler, was that I didn't really know what it felt like to be in this feeling of discomfort. In the past, I would get there and say, too much, let me back up. Not necessarily slow down, but like, let me make this training simpler.
Mm.
When in reality, like, I was probably there. So that would be the second thing I would look for, is somebody who can get me to feel uncomfortable, um, and also help me self-diagnose what I can do to get better in that environment of feeling
Well, that's
uncomfortable.
the
If that makes
biggest thing.
that
Like,
makes sense.
there's the difference between going at like 200% speed, where we all know that we're like, I'm just gonna go as hard as I can.
Yeah.
You literally see nothing, you feel nothing, you go through it, and you're like, I don't know what I just did.
Index blast,
Yeah.
blast, 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 blast.
There's that, and there's also like, all right, I'm gonna train at like 110%, 120%,
Yeah.
like just fast enough to where like, yeah, something bad's gonna happen here, but it's slow enough or controlled enough that you understand what fell off.
Yes.
So like we're gonna be doing some drills that are a lot isolated, and we'll go through and it's like, all right, was that your grip? Was that your vision that fell off? Okay, diving deeper into that, or maybe taking a step back, your transitions lacking. Or say you're split on this target, I'm not too concerned, but it's not efficient for this range. Or you shot a 5 yard open target at the same pace you did a 20 yard tux. Like
Yes.
that's not efficient, right?
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so diagnosing like the statistics and really diving into it too, I think is important, and understanding, because the timer gives you a lot more than a first shot and an end time.
Hmm.
A lot of people have no idea what they're called split times on most timers, but they don't know what to do with that
No. Yep.
other than say I got a 11 split. Look,
Yeah. Well,
which
yeah. What it's telling you specifically about the up close versus mid distance, long
right,
distance target. What that's telling you about what you're seeing, what you should be seeing, what you should be accepting, maybe a little more of, or a little bit less of.
because it comes down to if you want to get faster, right? Say like I'm doing this, I'm like I have to get faster at this. Where are you losing the time? Because most of the time it's not directly just an effort game.
No.
Sometimes it is, but oftentimes it's like, all right, my eyes need to come off sooner,
Yes.
or I shouldn't be shooting with a still dot.
That's it's funny you mentioned that. I was just about to say one of my biggest issues is fighting the urge to over confirm everything, because that's what I've done in the military and in the police world for the last 10 years. And that should kind of make it a little clearer for you, like why it's hard for me to live in this realm of being uncomfortable, because I
Well, your
want that
stakes are
guy.
higher too. I mean, your day-to-day stakes, I mean, even though I carry a gun with me every day, you're doing it and paid. Like people call you or
Yeah,
you're called to go to something where
yeah,
I can avoid things if I have to.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you have to, like, I understand where you're coming
yeah.
from for sure.
But
Um,
again, this goes back to this idea that, like, you pushing me and me pushing somebody who's, maybe just come to take a class with us, cop who's coming into this world of performance like I was years ago, right? Like, because I think there's, maybe we'll talk about this too, I think there's like levels of where people are at their journey,
mm,
where you could be a good coach or a good instructor for someone, right? But that's beside the point. Somebody coming in to this world of somebody who's used to over confirming stuff, right? A military dude, a cop, coming into this world of, like, you need to shoot and fail. Like, it's really, really hard to get. So, like, I can say, like, okay, I get it. But, like, when I start to think about it, like, super realistically, like, because you're right, I could have to pull my gun on the street and do something. It's like, there were times where, like I, guys be telling me, like, you're over confirming on that open target. You're over confirming on that tuxedo at 10 yards, something that with a lot of A zone.
yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna accept less. I'm gonna accept a blurry dot. And I'd go and I just, like, my brain could not do
Well,
it.
it's also
Like, I just,
too, like, especially as a coach, I think if say you may not understand that, right? Or it's like I'm telling you, go faster, accept less. You're like, I'm trying, but I
exactly.
can't. How can I
Yeah.
force you to? Like
That's a real,
how can
yeah.
I implement something into the training where you fail it if you don't accept less or go faster? Um, Something I like to do is whether it's using par times, like you must be, like we've talked
Yeah.
about before, you must beat the par time.
Yes.
It's very
No matter what.
easy.
No matter
No
what.
matter what,
Yeah.
you have, because in our training, if you fail in your training, it's okay.
Yeah.
You reload mags, paste up targets, do it again.
Yep.
That's the time to fail.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
not going to be like, you're going to be working at your subconscious skill when it's time to perform, whether it's in a competition or, God forbid,
Yep.
real life. You're not going to be thinking, I need to go faster. I need to go faster.
Right.
You're just gonna go without thinking, hopefully.
Yes. Yep.
So like in your training, you have to push yourself because that brings up what your subconscious skill is going to be.
Yeah.
And whether it's working on a metronome, which I don't know if you've done that before,
I have.
but
Yep. I just deleted it because I scrubbed my phone of some things, but Angel got the metronome going. I've used it with the laser.
nice. So we'll be doing some of that and a lot of par time because it's it's hard to tell someone go faster and then just them be able to do it,
Yeah.
right? Anyone can tell someone to go faster,
Yeah.
but are there ways that you can force them to?
Yeah. That's
Are
a
there ways that
great
like,
way. That's a great example, actually. Yeah, it's a great example.
and that's just one, and those might not work for some people, but that's a part about, I think about the difference between an instructor and a coach, and it really helps more in like a private setting
Yes.
because as an
It's a
instructor,
lot easier. It's easier for you to do because
right?
you know how I think, and you just got to focus on me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's much different for us too, because we've trained together before. Like I kind of know how you think. Obviously, Angel's trained you a ton, so I got his notes on you. And so it's a little bit different. But I think understanding how to go faster or what is slowing you down, or maybe if you're not shooting efficient, how can you figure out what efficient is?
Yeah.
This is something Sam Callahan talks a lot with his like, his actual potential and, your
Yep.
result, your actual too.
Yep.
So it's just a different mindset in your training, I think,
Yes.
where you're not 100% of the time training for perfection.
Right.
You're training to improve.
Yep. Yep.
But all right, so some stuff to end it off that's more fun. Um,
This is fun.
yeah, well, everyone likes gear, so what what are you carrying, and does it change when you go to compete? Because a lot of people, at least I talk to, are like, I have a Glock, Like
Yeah.
nobody shoots those in competitions, which is false. But they're always like, I want to get a competition gun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No.
what do you
I
compete with versus what do you carry with versus what do you work with? Does that change at
no.
all? In why?
No. It's so the guns that we have in the job are. I was going to say I got to be careful what I say on this, but I don't think it's a secret. We've got Glock 22s, 40 cal, iron sights, no lights, no optics, no lights. It is a miserable gun to shoot. I may as well throw boulders at people.
Yikes.
And we are shortly, very soon, we're told, going to the Glock 45s. So 9 mil gun, great, great, great duty gun, right? So about 18 months ago, I bought that with an Aimpoint Acro P2 because that's the dot we are also supposed to be getting. And I threw a light on it, and I ripped the irons off because I've seen irons fail more than dots.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're just I don't think there's a purpose to them. So
I don't
that's what I
even have
carry.
irons on my competition guns at all.
Yeah, I saw that light pretty quick when someone pointed out, and yeah, again, I was the guy that said, well, why not have backup irons? You never know.
Glocks are weird,
And then
anyways.
I
They're
started
kind
to
of the way to
shoot.
go.
Then I started to shoot guns enough and fast enough and enough rounds to even see shit break on it. And I mean, the irons were sliding off significantly more than dots ever broke. So yeah, that's what I carry, and I shoot competitions with that.
You run
My
the mod mat too for your rifle?
Yep, got the mod mat 11.75er.
Nice.
I'm not a patrol rifle guy yet on the job for a couple different reasons. If I do that, I'm susceptible to maybe having to wear a uniform every shift if they want me to carry it, and we've got kind of a cool little gig.
Which are way cooler than that, I must say. Some of the random pictures I see of you looking all cool on the internet are pretty entertaining sometimes.
Yeah.
Your candid shots.
They're all right. Yeah, I hate those, and I know those guys pretty good. The dudes at Live Boss, and they have helped us quite a bit with our marketing, and they come out, they take pictures, and they help us get the word out. And I know those guys pretty good, and let's just say I'm very particular about. I basically say they're like, hey, we got this picture you would have seen. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Just don't get caught with your hands in your vest.
Jesus Christ. I feel like I should. Yeah, we'll save that for another live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No. Certainly, cops will be killed if they walk around with their hands in their vest. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah. I'll leave it at my lack of experience to make a comment on it. You gonna be shooting PCSL this year?
I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I got a second kid coming in June, and hosting all these dudes. So the
You're a busy
boss
man.
the boss is very gracious. She's my wife's fantastic. She puts up with a lot of shit. So I got to be very careful how the how many matches I throw on the schedule. But I do want to try to shoot a couple
Well,
cover matches.
if Angel's on here, maybe you could confirm if there's going to be PCSL.
IDPA, baby.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm going to make sure IDP gay does not happen at Granby.
I am shooting an IDP. Oh, come on. I am shooting an IDP. Well, it's definitely not going to happen at Granby.
You only like it because it's acceptable to go slow and get your hits.
Oh, shut up. I'm a master, bro.
Sure. We'll see you Saturday.
I am. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We will. I'm shooting a low light IDPA match on Sunday.
There's still time to cancel.
Hear me out. My department does no low light training. The last time I shot in the dark with a light was quite literally 3 years ago. I admit that fully.
The button on the back or the pressure switch is how you use a light. There you go.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So it's a good opportunity to train. Most matches I don't think about as a way to train, right? It's just a test.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see if I can, how I can shoot this gun and turn the light on. The gun will probably come flying out. I'll throw it.
Make sure you got batteries in it.
Yeah, batteries. Got it.
Yeah, and if you got batteries and it's mounted properly, you're probably good to go.
I can occlude the light, right? Should I occlude it?
Honestly, if you want to stay more target focused in the dark, occluding your light is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
I read that on the interweb.
Or just put the wrong batteries in it. That works too.
Okay.
Work at like a lower
Yep.
power. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out real quick. Yeah, can't dry fire light activation or anything. Yeah, I've been dry firing the light activation, Steve. I just would also like to.
Those buttons are hard. I'm telling you.
I would also
They
like to
keep
shoot
moving.
the gun. Yeah. So, yeah, I think IDPA is very fun. It certainly is not at the level USPSA is, and my shooting goals have nothing to do with IDPA and everything to do with USPSA. But I think IDPA is it's another good test. If cops, here's the question: if USPSA went away in New England tomorrow, would you shoot
No,
IDPA?
I'd shoot PCSL.
If PCSL went away and USPSA went away tomorrow, would you shoot IDPA?
Luckily, I have walls, a million targets, and bays I have complete access to with mini poppers and steel. I would make my own hit factor matches.
Okay, fair enough.
Or I'd never leave my basement and
It,
just make me stages in here.
it's fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, no, if there was nothing else, I would probably shoot it. But yeah, full transparency, I've never shot IDPA. I'm just ragging on it because
I know.
it's
I
fun.
understand. I
Yeah.
understand. No, it is obviously different, and that's could be its own podcast. The difference between the two, but it's still a test. I had a lot of fun. Scott Anderson sets up all the matches at Holbrook, and like I said, I don't shoot guns with lights on them. I need to do it. So I'm going to do it.
You know what I'm excited for? Watching Joe shoot his first major.
This year's gonna be his first major.
Joe, can you confirm? Is this your first major this year? I think it is.
Not that I have much. I mean, that was my first and only major too. But I thought he's been shooting. I thought he's shot more than that.
I think
Uh,
Joe shot a ton of matches, but I think they're all locals. So this might be his first time
Yeah, you might be
shooting
right.
against Joe. That's not confirming anything.
No, I think
you're just putting.
that. I think that means hang loose, buddy. I think that means
It's late for him. It's past his
We
bedtime.
we've got to I know he gets up at 3:15 in the morning to work out.
He works out in my town. I'm not gonna like say where he works out,
Oh,
but
really?
I'm thinking about.
Really?
We live in the same town.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
I'm thinking about just randomly showing up to said gym one morning and waiting for his arrival at 2 a.m.
Yeah, you should. You definitely you can take pictures of each other.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
So I was so Angels I was a little bummed because I wasn't able to get in your guys' squad, but we got a good squad. It's me, Joe, Scott.
Our squad filled up so fast,
it
was ridiculous.
I know. Everybody wants to shoot with Dave. Everyone wants to shoot with Dave Wampler. Ooh.
He's kind of cool, I guess.
He's great.
I've never even met him. So this will be my first time.
He's the man. I mean, he moves like an absolute gorilla. He's an absolute. He's just to watch him shoot and move is pretty fucking cool. He said he was gonna pop on. I don't know if he was in here before, but
I think I saw him in the beginning, but I don't know. But yeah, it'll be fun. Too bad Angel couldn't come on. Shout out to Angel, the dude that's kind of running all in the background.
No, fuck Angel.
But no, but so I don't know. Did I ever tell you my story of how I got into competition?
No, but I was gonna ask you some questions. Am I allowed to ask you some questions?
Dude, you can ask me whatever you want.
Yeah. So first of all, how old are you?
I am 24.
24. And how long have you been shooting seriously?
I got a gun during COVID when I turned 21, but I was in school, so I was in college, so I couldn't really shoot it or do anything because I was away from home. But I've been shooting seriously I'm going into my third year.
So this is if for the people that are still watching, and I'm sure we'll post this, but and this is obviously going to be a big compliment to you. Go fuck yourself. So relax. But this is like one of the toughest things for the LE community, military community to do, right? Like I'm 37. You're 24. I've been handling guns in some way, shape, or form since 2012. You've been doing it for what, 3 years?
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
But for everyone watching, I'm paying you for a private on Saturday because I've shot with you, I've trained with you, we've had conversations. I know how you think about shooting. You think very deeply about it. This kind of thing, right, between the practical shooting community and or the the guys that compete regularly and the police community, like this is the kind of stuff that needs to happen more. Whether that person on your end is 54 or 24, if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what's better is if you can articulate the information, if you can be a mentor, like if you can mentor, you can mentor, and if you can shoot, you can shoot.
Yeah,
and
and shout out to Angel for that too, because he's been my mentor literally. So my first match, right? I shot my gun like a couple times, maybe like 50 rounds, 100 rounds, whatever. And then I went to the range the next weekend, and all the pistol bays are filled up. I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm pissed, right? I go to shoot my 50 rounds. I brought my one box of ammo to go shoot, and all the pistol bays are filled up with these nerds running around with like laser guns, and they're shooting like at such a level I didn't even think was possible. I didn't even know that stuff was possible with a handgun, to be honest.
When was this? What year was this? This was right after you got the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like probably 22.
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 22. And then I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't even own mag pouches. I had a holster and a handgun, and that was it. Like I'd wear like my FDE shirt to the range. I was like, this is my range shirt kind of thing. I thought it was really...
That's probably the last piece of tactical shit you ever wore.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a hand-me-down too. Yeah, it was pretty cool. At least I thought I was cool. And then I was like, wait, people are competing with guns? Like, I've competed in sports my whole life. And coming into this, I was like, wait, I can shoot guns, compete against people, and like keep learning. I was like, I'm coming next time. I didn't even know what practice score was. I just looked at my local club's calendar, and I just saw pistol match. I think that's what it said. I don't even know what it said. Something to do with pistols. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna show up. I don't even know what I need. I like emailed the match director. I was like, I kind of want to do this. Like, what can I bring? Like, I don't even know what this is.
It's amazing.
And he was like, the max round count stage can be is 32 rounds. So just have enough to shoot 32 rounds.
This was the match director telling you this?
Yeah. Yeah. So I went on the website, my local range's website, and I was like, who's the pistol bay director? Like, I don't know what this is, and I don't want to show up. These guys have so much gear, and I have nothing. I don't want to show up and not, like, get turned away.
Yeah.
So I just emailed him. I'm like, what do I need? He's like, you need to be able to shoot 32 rounds and, like, bring a few hundred rounds with you and have a belt and a holster. I was like, okay, sure.
And you just did that.
I just showed up. Like I said, didn't even know what practice score was. I walk in, I, like, saw on the website you needed $20. And I'm like, I got my cash in my hand. And I walk up to like the shed where they're like taking money. I'm like, here to shoot. And they're like, what's your name? I'm like, Matt. Like, we don't see you on our list. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? I'm a member. I pay a membership here. What do you mean? It's like, this is totally different.
That's hilarious.
They ended up getting me in a squad. Angel was the first person I saw in the bay. I don't even know what he was doing. And I was like, I go up to him, I'm like, hey man, I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you kind of show me around here? Like, when can we start shooting? And from then on, we've probably talked every single day for like the past 2.5 years.
Yeah, you found the right guy.
Super lucky. And he's been mentoring me. So he actually took a little break from shooting, I guess. I won't get into his personal story, but that was one, I could be wrong, but I think it was his first match back in the area shooting again. Mm-hmm. So we were both coming into it. He was shooting for years before me, but it was both like his reintroduction and my introduction into the sport. He also lives like 10 minutes away from me. So I was like, oh, cool. You live right near me. Started doing that, started improving a ton. He was coaching me through the whole thing. And then, as of last year, we're like, let's start something. He started PPG, ended up bringing me on like pretty instantly throughout the process. And yeah, now we got a full-blown website. The website's back up now.
I didn't know
So
it was down. It was down.
I think we got hacked or something.
Well,
I don't even.
glad
I'm not
I'm
even
glad
gonna.
I'm glad
Uh,
it's back up.
yeah, I'm not even gonna go into the details of it. It's just
Oh,
weird things popped up when you'd search it. Like
really?
I don't know if you're still on here, try searching paradigmperformancegroup.com, and if something weird comes up, it's not us.
Is this like
Just know, just know
is
we
this
were
like
hacked.
is
But
it
it should be up now, and now we got like a full course catalog, doing private sessions now, doing remote training for people now. We're bringing on like we're having pretty big name instructors come and host classes at Grammys, like Sam Callahan, Dave Wampler, Tom Castro. I know I'm probably
Brantley?
yep,
Brantley, right?
Brantley Meriden.
Yep.
I think he's coming in.
I think I can do that one. I think I can do
Yeah,
that.
that's going to be a really good one. And then we got to nail down the dates, but Rob Epifania, me and him are teaching a class together as well in September, hopefully.
Oh, hell yeah.
Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's just been growing a ton. Well, it really comes down to how much work you want to put in.
Yep. Yep.
Because I don't know if Angel ever told you how many rounds I shot my first year of shooting, but I think it was like 2,000 rounds. I've been shooting.
That's it.
It was like a couple thousand rounds. Yes, it was under 5,000. I think it was like 3,000 rounds. I
You're an
shot
animal.
one. I shot one match a month.
You're an
That's
animal, buddy.
it.
You're a literal animal.
But it was all like dry fire training. That was like all I did. Because I was just getting out of college, $0 to my
Yeah.
name, no big boy job at all.
Yep.
Just working like a next to minimum wage job, doing my applications to try and get a real job. And
Yep.
I was like, I don't know, I can afford like 150 rounds to shoot a match a month. I can afford the match fee. I already got like I literally had my sidecar, as we were talking about Lucas from
Yep.
T-Rex. I competed out of my sidecar with a Mars carrier from
Yep.
T-Rex Arms, and
Yep.
then I think I had like a taco pouch, and I had like some weird tactical EDC belt, and that's what I used
Yeah.
for like a while.
See, this is what I think is really important, right? And I've talked with a handful of guys recently about ex- what is the most valuable kind of experience that an instructor or a coach, however, that a teacher can offer.
Mm,
And I think that's it, right? Like the experience that I bring to the table, when I say experience, it has nothing to do with like cop stuff or military stuff,
yeah.
but it has everything to do with the way that with my shooting journey. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what a firearms instructor is, right? It's somebody who offers the shit that they've learned over the course of their journey, right? And my journey was, for lack of a better word, painstaking. Like I
Mm,
wasted a lot of time doing the wrong thing, and in the last couple of years, kind of figured it out. And I think and I think that we can offer some value in helping folks not go through that, right? You just described, not you didn't shoot that many rounds when you first got into this game. It was all dry fire, and here you are, 2 years after that first year, on your way to being a master class shooter in what, CO or limited?
see ya.
C carry, right?
Yeah.
The only division that
Yeah.
matters,
I
and
think I'm sitting at
yeah,
84.7% right
like
now.
that kind of experience, right? Like that's the stuff that like cops will buy into, right?
Mm,
Like and guys that carry a gun every day, right? Like this is a dude who didn't shoot 100,000
no.
rounds every fucking
I think I shot
year.
maybe 10,000 rounds this year, and
You
that was like,
focused on you learned from a guy that knew how to do it, and you focused on what mattered most, and you practiced with no fucking
yeah.
bullets, and here you are, right? Like that's what I think. You and I, the three of us, Angel, and with Johnny, right? Like
Hmm.
I think we're on to something pretty cool here in Mass. Like these are the types of ways that we're trying to get people to think, right? Like
Right.
if you just think about training a little bit differently, focus on what matters, like you can get fucking good.
You can get good really
Yeah.
fast. Like people want the magic pill and like buy that fancy gun, or oh, he's
Cameron
got
Cameron just said open matters too.
no, it doesn't. Not if you're shooting major
Yeah,
scoring,
exactly.
but Cam, you ruined my train of thought.
Oh, sorry.
But people think you can buy a
Yeah,
lot of skill.
we were talking about how you can get really good really fast. Yeah, yeah.
And like maybe you can like buy yourself 1%. You know, your equipment matters to an extent, but you have, like we were talking, Brantley. Brantley shoots, I think, a stock Glock. That dude, I think, came in like 5th in nationals for carry optics last year.
Yeah. He's a freak.
There's no excuse. From then on, he
No.
set the bar that it does not matter. And like you look at like the big sponsor shooters, whether it be like Max Michel or like JJ. I mean, they're probably doing tricked out stuff to their guns, but at the end of the day, Max is using P320.
Yep.
JJ is using a
Yep.
Beretta. Brantley's using a Glock.
Yep.
Like everyday guns that people go out and you can get at any local gun shop.
Yep.
And these guys are not shooting 2011s. They're not shooting this. And it's still possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that has to tell you, like, maybe the equipment doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
I mean,
I really,
like I said, maybe you can get a couple percent, right? Like an open gun. I mean, maybe that gives you a couple percent added to your skill.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, the guy that has the best skill personally invested in himself is going to win.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be a better
Yeah.
shooter. But
I agree.
I mean, that's just how I feel. And it's
I agree
crazy.
completely.
Like people, there was I want to even say T-Rex Arms posted it. There was a picture that they posted and it was a staccato. And I think it was just one staccato. And then there was a picture and it had a Glock, 2,000 rounds of ammo.
Oh yeah, I think
a bunch of
posted.
magazines.
Yeah.
A whole belt.
What would you rather
shot
have?
timer.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then the caption, he's like, these are the same price.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to get better with the same
Yes.
amount of money?
Yep.
Because what's everyone's biggest objection? I don't have the money.
Yeah.
It's either money or time.
Yeah.
And everyone has the time. It's just whether you prioritize
100%.
it, right? Money is relative, right? Things are expensive for other people. But it's crazy to me when people say that and they're rocking like an XC or something like that. Or they have like the craziest rifle.
Yep.
And it's like, you're telling me going to shoot 1,000 rounds or 500 rounds or go paying for a private session or go paying for a class is too expensive?
Yeah. Well, that's just because they don't want to. You know that. It's because they don't
Oh,
want to.
100%.
They don't want to. And it's funny you mention that. Like I've like I said, I try not to. I try really hard not to blame, my coworkers, right? Cops, we have a tough job, and guys in my department work their fucking asses off. I have great bosses. I have great coworkers. Like I have nothing bad to say about the job I'm on, as far as the people, right? But there was a time where like I said, I used to talk a lot of shit about firearms instructors, guys who'd go shoot their quals and get 100 and claim that they were, X amount of capable. And then I'd say, come take a class. Maybe it was my class. Maybe it was one of your classes. Maybe it was one of the guys we were hosting. We'd offer it to them for free and they would never come. And they never come. And it was, and I used to fucking like despise those kinds of people. But I found that it was just like stress that I couldn't control, anger I couldn't control. And at the end of the day, it's like I would rather, and I think you and Angel too, right, would rather focus on the guys that do care. There might be
that's why we do private sessions more than anything.
Yeah. You guys will make the amount of fucking people's skills that you'll raise from the privates, because now I've worked with both of you, will be monumental. Not that group classes don't have their setting, right? But yeah, you guys will make a lot of people really good, really fast.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest thing people reach out to Angel and me for is for like 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, like small group private sessions. Like especially when it's warmer. Like right now, I have people booked all the way up to April,
Amazing.
which is great. God bless. I mean, obviously, I got some time in between everything, but it's in the winter right now. There's people that want to get after it, which fires me up. Like it's probably going to be snowing, but we're probably still going to get after it unless the roads are not able to be traversed.
Ooh, if it's snowing, can't go. Can't make it.
Okay. Well, I guess you're not that cool, but if it's like able to get out there, even if it's cold, we're still going to be working.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so it's cool to see like, and also even going to train at Granby, there's usually people there too,
yeah, yeah. We
which
got a
is
good, we
cool to
got a
see.
good, we got a good kind of network, good community of people
Yeah,
that show up and are out there.
I'm
Or what's
excited
even
to.
sometimes I like it too. I mean, I used to go a lot during the week, because
Yeah,
that's
you
just
go during
how
the
my schedule.
weirdest times, I
I
swear.
I know. Well, it's because my schedule. Did you say I go at the weirdest times?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because
Well,
I
when
meet.
I was on like for real my time for 3 months, which we're not going to talk about, but I'm going like, oh, I got time on Wednesday at noon. I'll go to the range because no one's going to be there.
That's
I go
great, and
there.
that's one of and that
Angel's
and I
there. Johnny's there. Tyler's
yeah,
there. Everyone's there. I'm like, guys,
top schedule.
shouldn't you be working?
Yeah,
Yeah.
top schedules. You know, we're 4-2. Joe, and that's Joe's job. He's always there. He's in my trailer, stealing my shit. Uh, yeah, I like it. I like it for kind of both those reasons. You know, it's nice to show up and the place is empty. I could do, and then at the same time, it's nice when I go there and you and Angel are there and we're, flicking each other off and taking our pants off and stuff like that.
Or
What?
you have wait, what?
What?
Never mind. Or you have my brother just randomly filming things and
Yeah,
we're yelling at each other and he's just filming it from a distance.
yeah.
Or
But it is great. I think we're. Um, I would like to think that we're starting to affect the decision makers and those who might be in a place to make some change at the state level, the stuff that I care about. But I think that you and Angel are certainly starting to show that there's a lot of value out there in Granby with what you guys are doing, and I know there's a lot of stuff that we're going to share, I think, soon. Um, but Granby will be a pretty is now and will continue to be a pretty fucking sweet place to come train.
yeah, funny. Endicott College PD just joined. I'm an alumni.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to Endicott. That's funny.
Oh, I didn't know you went
Um,
to Endicott.
yeah, yeah, up in Beverly on the North
I got
Shore.
married there, buddy, at Mistlewood.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah.
Wow. Small
Beautiful
world.
spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to go to the beach there all the time, play
So you're
football there.
so you're still super liberal, or
No, no, no. I grew up here in nuts a long time ago.
are you guys? Someone's saying go Gulls. Is it the Endicott Gulls, the
Yes,
Seagulls?
sir. No, we're the Gulls. Don't call me the Seagulls, but we're the Gulls.
What is a gull?
You know what a goal is. Don't make me explain it.
I don't know what I don't know what a gull is. I know what a seagull is.
Well, I can't explain it without calling it what I just said. It's not.
Oh, so it's a seagull.
I mean, it's like it's one of them birds that go on the beaches. You know what I'm talking about? A
Yeah, the
gull.
one that eat all the rats in downtown and then they go die because the rats have diseases.
Maybe this is a
Sweet,
bad look for
yeah, sweet mascot, Endicott. No,
yeah, we.
I'm obviously kidding. I got married there. It's a beautiful place. I don't know what I'm doing. Again, I'm a terrible businessman. They probably logged off. They're like, I'm never fucking talking. Listen, to these two
Yeah,
idiots.
and the cop PD came on for 3 seconds and
Yeah,
then left.
and then Tyler talked shit about the goals and they left.
Yeah.
No, I love Endicott. It's a special place in our heart. Beautiful spot.
Definitely.
Well, let me. You got a couple more minutes? I got another question.
Yeah. Where you at?
Um, I want to talk about a guy who's never picked up a pistol, right?
Hmm.
So someone who is coming to you or they go somewhere and they get an LTC. How do you think about introducing that person to handling a pistol and potentially understanding the fundamentals of shooting?
Yeah. So this is something we do like in LT. We do LTC classes, and we half your day is on the range with a gun in your hand. The first thing is you got to learn safety, right? I mean, we all know the firearm safety rules. I'm not going to say them, but
Yep.
you have to know how to be safe with a firearm. That's number one if you're new. Number two is what all the buttons on it do. Like, how do you drop a mag? How do you load around? How do you unload it? How do you lock the slide to the rear? What is the wall of the trigger versus like breaking the trigger? Like, how does the mechanics of a firearm work?
Yep.
How to clear malfunctions? So it really comes down to that. Like, first, being safe. Second, how does this machine operate in my hand?
The controls. Yep.
And then after that, I think it really comes down to your vision in your grip, I think are the first two things. I mean, I'm kind of factoring in learning and understanding how to clear a malfunction with learning what the buttons do.
Yep.
So I'm kind of grouping that
Yep.
together. But learning how your sights work and how to be what target focused, and how to hold the pistol and understanding what grip pressures mean and how they can affect.
Okay.
So trigger control at speed, right? Like, so for example, my fiance has a gun, trying to teach her how to use it. The things that I teach her, because she understands what the buttons do and how to be safe.
Yep.
Trigger control at speed and learning where to put your eyeballs. So being target focused, understanding you're not going to stare at the flying red dot all around,
Yep.
but also understanding how to manipulate the gun
Yep.
without disturbing your sights,
Yep.
and how the pressures you input into the gun affect that.
So after safety handling controls, you're focusing this when the shooting starts. You're asking, guiding, mentoring that person to think narrowly about what their eyes are doing with the sights and how they're holding the gun.
Yeah, you have to put rounds on target.
Yeah.
Before
Okay.
you can learn anything else outside of the first two things, you got to hit something.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to understand how your sights work and where to look.
Yep.
And how to grip the pistol in a way that you're not disturbing your sights when you pull your trigger.
Okay. And you've seen success, obviously, I'm assuming.
I think trigger control at speed is a great drill for it, because you directly see that relationship between your sights, your grip, and how you're pulling the trigger.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, like, you can smash your trigger, you can prep it, you can really do whatever you want to it. That
Yep.
doesn't really matter. It's just, does your grip support it?
Yep.
To be able to not disturb the sights when you're shooting.
Okay.
Because if your gun's zeroed properly, the rounds hit where your sights are. Okay. Bottom line.
So the same principles, what you're saying, the same principles that you and I are going to think about on Saturday.
Yep.
Just at a obviously much simpler,
yeah,
super controlled level.
And then going past that, say we understand how to grip the gun, how to put rounds on target. Obviously, our grip and our vision is going to be something we will always be working at. Like, you never stop working it. I don't care who you are. You could be a national champion. You're still working your grip in your eyeballs.
Right.
So that never stops. So we'll keep that in mind. After that, I think just raw gun handling skills is probably next. Because honestly, like, get to, say, a B class level in USPSA, you really just have to perform. You have to hit alphas, so hit where you're shooting at, and perform your gun handling skills at a semi decent rate. That's B class.
Yes, it is.
I think that's next. So learning how to reload at speed, learning how to draw at speed, relatively learning how to transition the gun somewhat efficiently.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. Just the raw gun skills. I think that's a step up from, like, your first week of owning a gun. Like, you kind of understand how to grip the gun. You understand that relationship. Now let's work on, and for me, like, to get faster at these, I use a lot of par times, because it forces you have an actual metric that you can go that's faster or not. Did it feel better, or was it actually faster? Or, like, say, just random numbers. Say your draw is 1 second. Say doing it faster than a second, you can do every time. So you drop it to 0.9, to 0.8. And say you're like at 0.7, I literally am not gripping the gun right. Like, you have a metric, like, okay, 0.8 is my 100% right now. So now I can work that down. Maybe, I'm getting a few reps at 0.7. Now we're working that speed. That's just one example. And then after we're getting that, I think this is where competition really plays a big role in how to train. Is if you get out there and compete, you earn the perspective at where you suck. And that,
literally all I think about competitions, whether it's USPSA or
it's very humbling.
The hated IDPA. That's literally, I go to these things and obviously I shouldn't say that. It's not the only thing. The first thing I'm evaluating is, did all that dry stuff I did for 10 minutes a day and post to my fucking stories was it effective,
Yeah. But it
right?
also shows you too, like, is there something I'm not practicing that I should be?
And that's the second part, right? Like, and you figured out pretty quick. Like even like those indoor matches, 4 stages. It's like after the first 2 stages, you're like, okay, like the speed work I did with my eyes, like it's paying off. I'm coming off the target quick. My eyes are
Mm-hmm.
finding small spots. Like that worked. But then, like you said, the second thing I'm thinking about, and I think I probably care more about this than did the dry practice work, is what did I suck at totally? Because
Yeah.
that's what I'll then go and
Because then
practice for the
after you got
next
the gun
six. The next
skills
six.
down and you're kind of working on the fundamentals, there's, you'll always be working to perfect the fundamentals. So we're not stopping anything. But then you can start to dive in like shooting and moving, or shooting on the move, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yep.
And then you can start to work like really, that's where you can start to hone in your skills. Like now you understand the techniques, the concepts, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
Now let's get better at
Yep.
them. So it's honing in your fundamentals that you already kind of understand, or it's going to a competition to learn, I suck at this, let's start working this,
Right.
whether it's like entering in on a target, or say your transitions
Yep.
suck, or say when I shoot fast, I can't hit anything. So like maybe I need to work on my grip more.
Yep.
Like maybe my grip supports me with a perfectly prepped trigger going really slow. Maybe my grip is good enough for that. But when I start freaking out, when the timer goes off and I'm pulling the trigger as fast as I can, because that's how the other guy sounded like he was doing
Yeah.
it. And I'm looking around, Charlie Mike, Delta Mike, Alpha Mike, 2 mics. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So I think it's very cheap perspective. Pay $20 or so, and you have homework.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree. I agree. But I think you obviously have to. I agree, but only if you have an understanding of these principles and you know a little bit about yourself, what you can do, what you can't do, and how to self-diagnose, right? Like unless you've got a coach who's with you from match one
yeah.
and can help you diagnose these things to give you the homework, right? Like those first like 3 or 4 matches I shot at SIG, like I wasn't, because I was still starting to understand like the power of my eyes, the power of my grip, uh, the how to isolate my trigger finger from the rest of my strong hand and what tension does to my body. Like I was actively working through those things. So I wasn't, I'll be perfectly honest, like I wasn't entirely sure, like my buddy Chris was helping me with these things. I wasn't entirely sure what it was that was causing the mics or the misses, the Charlies, the Deltas. But once I understood that, to your
Now
point,
you
is
have something to
like,
work on. Now you
yes,
have something to go
now
with.
you can just go shoot a match, whether it's fucking every week or every couple months, and you don't necessarily have to go spend the money on, a GM or a master guy every couple of months to take a class because you've got you've got the baseline understanding of why you're missing.
It also comes down to how how fast you want to get better, and
Yeah,
also you're you have to understand what you're doing wrong first. Like everyone can go and be like, "Oh, my hit factor was way worse than everyone," or like, "Oh, I had 3 mics.
yeah,
Why?"
yeah. You got to know why.
Like that's the big question. And especially if we're talking about someone starting out, you're probably not going to understand that unless you have some kind of mentorship, whether it's paid or whether it's like you got lucky on a YouTube video or like someone at a match was like, "Hey, I see you doing
Yeah,
this. Like, try
you've
and do
got
this next
someone
time."
in the
Or like
squad who knows a little bit about what's happening. Yeah,
normally it has to come from somewhere else, unless you're like just gifted and you're like, "Oh, I did that because of my vision." I don't really know what vision is yet, but like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
a lot of these are like obviously semantics and specific terms that people in the performance shooting world just
yeah. Throw
understand.
around. Yep.
But until you're kind of exposed by that, a lot of times people don't understand. And this goes back to process versus results in your training. Like, are you just looking at your results and trying to perfect them?
Yep.
And that's like, oh, I got mics. My next one, I need to shoot alphas. I'm just going to be really careful next
Yeah.
time. And then
Exactly.
they look at it. I got all alphas. I got better. And it's like, did you?
Yeah.
Versus someone that's like, I got those 3 mics. All right, I'm not shooting at my sight's pace. My dot wasn't on the target. Like when you've trained and you've had a mic, I'm like, was your dot on the target where you're looking? No.
No.
That's so
Nope.
obviously that's a very
Yeah.
simplistic way
Yeah.
of putting it.
Yeah.
But being able to
That's
understand
like
that,
an easy, that's a good one. That's the one you want. That's the kind of self-diagnosis. If that's the kind of stuff that's happening, that's
right.
easy.
But then you see that and you're like, okay, I understand why the mic happened.
Yeah.
Now what can I use to train that?
Yep.
Whether it's a specific drill. The drills really don't matter all that much. It's
Yep.
just what your focus is
Yep.
on it.
I was just
Like
having this conversation today with Kyle Robbins, actually. I don't know if he's in here, but I was just having this conversation today about
most of my
how you can get.
training is some random array.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to the range, like when we're gonna go train, you're not gonna see like, oh, that's this drill. I'm literally just gonna chuck a bunch of targets out there and put some random positions
Yep.
for us, and we shoot.
Perfect. Is there gonna be a cold start like Angel's cold start? Something where there's
Mine's gonna be even worse. You're gonna hate it. So I'll tell you
it's gonna
now,
be
so you can mentally
worse
prepare.
than that? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Don't tell
No,
me.
you'll know. I'll tell you now. So it's gonna be a stage, right?
Yeah.
So you'll show up, like you're going to a match. You'll come to it. I want you to. So at a major, you have 4 minutes, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm giving
I got a
you.
lot of experience at my one major. Yep, four
Yes.
minutes. Got it.
I'm giving you 1 minute to
Hold on.
walk the stage.
We put on my gamer glasses. Okay, 1 minute.
Right. Because I want to get you better at executing, right, and understanding it. Obviously, this is a cold start, and we'll learn from it by the end. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to walk it, and the next 3 minutes.
1 minute to walk it.
1 minute to walk it. In your next 3 minutes, I want you to sit there and visualize.
Okay.
I don't even want you looking at the stage. I just want you visualizing your plan, and then we're gonna go out and perform.
I like this a lot.
And we're gonna go and do all the rest of the stuff, and then we'll come back to the
if
stage.
I get there early and crawl up on the berm and watch you set up the stage.
Hey, I will say, I show up to matches early on purpose.
I'm probably going to show up to this year's Area 7
I'm probably going to go the day before if I can. I'm going to go the day before because I'm shooting on a Sunday. I'm going to go Saturday and walk all the stages and see if I can find some really good shooters and see how they're shooting it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If I have the time.
Yeah, Joe, if you're still in here, we got to go do some recon. That weekend.
Yes. Do recon. Fortunately and unfortunately, Angel's shooting with me this time instead of coming up for the day with me.
I remember
He
was doing some serious. Yeah, he was doing some.
That was a blessing.
He loves you, buddy. He really does love you. I mean, he was. I think half his energy was going into trying to fucking beat Dave Wampler. The other half was just trying to figure out what to tell you so you could beat everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that was my best match ever.
I remember.
So I'm looking to do better next time. But yeah, so that's the plan for the cold start.
Sweet.
Because I want to get you. I mean, we've shot together.
Yeah.
I want to get you better at executing. And for me, what I've found success in is visualize reps over walking reps. Obviously, everyone's brain works different. We're going to try some stuff, but I think a key for executing at a high level is finding your stage plan early and being able to visualize it for the majority of the time. Because you don't want to not be ready if you're the first person to shoot. Like you don't want to say like
which I was at Area 7 last year because somebody didn't show up and we were waiting for him.
It sounds like something Johnny would do.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a guess.
John, they're calling his name. He's running out of the car, and they're like, does anyone else want to go first? Dave Wampler, mouth shut. Angel, mouth shut. No one's saying. I go, okay, my first major, sure. I'll go. Max Michelle standing over here with some kid he's mentoring who's probably a grandmaster himself. He's like 15. He's like, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll go first. No problem.
Yeah. So you don't want to rely on, okay, I'm halfway through the pack. I have like 10 minutes to visualize my plan. I'm just going to use this 4 minutes to walk.
I love it. I love it, buddy.
Because you're not planning for success if you're doing that. You're planning for chance. Right. So you're going to hate it because it's going to be difficult. But we're going to do a lot of statistics. So we're going to write down a lot of that stuff in the metrics. I know you like to see metrics. You like to bring a Sharpie around.
Big data guy. Big data guy.
I'm like the opposite. I like to remember it, but I'm never writing stuff down.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, no,
No.
I don't even think I bring a Sharpie with me. I mean, I might have one in my bag, but for the most part, I'll like find my baseline, what I can do on demand every time.
Yep.
And I know, all right, now we have to push past this because I want to like incrementally work myself 10% better, 10% better.
Yep.
Like I want to work at 110% performance or whatever you want to call it in
Yeah.
training, at
Yeah.
least. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, what can I do? This is the stuff we're going to do. Like finding your potential
Sweet.
is like, what's my average or what should be my target numbers on these statistics?
Money.
I'm just going to remember those numbers in my head and rep it out and see what I need to see to be able to achieve those, and then put things all together. Like
Money.
we'll go back to shooting the stage,
Yep.
and then I'll see, am I executing it, or am I going to like hate myself on my ride home, kind of thing.
Yep.
So that's the way I like to do it and how my mind works. I know your mind's a little different. You like to walk around with a dump pouch and a Sharpie. So
Are you
we'll
gonna
be
have
different.
Are you gonna have a dump pouch?
Absolutely not.
All right, I'll bring
No.
you one.
Oh, perfect. Maybe I'll just put like a plastic grocery bag on my belt
That
and I'll
works.
just use that.
You can put shit in there. Absolutely.
But yeah, it'll be
Good.
fun. So we'll work a lot on your execution. We'll work a lot on understanding what your 100% is and understanding how to explore, as you like to
Money.
call it, through statistics instead of feeling. Because at
Beautiful.
the end of the day, hit factor doesn't care about how you feel.
Nope. I'm pumped, buddy.
It cares about statistics. But yeah, do you have any closing questions at all? We've been on here for like an hour and a half. So
Oh, Jesus.
if there's anyone on from the beginning, you're a trooper.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's still 12 people here. God bless you. Hour and a half. No, buddy, this was good. This is very enjoyable. I'd like to think. I mean, I've done just a couple of these now. I'd like to think I'm maybe getting a little better at not just word vomiting my thoughts. So I apologize if it sounded like that, but no, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. I told you in the beginning when we were talking about this, you're going to be the first person on, so I had to
No, thanks.
keep my word for it.
Well, to the grandmasters who were national international teachers, you got big shoes to fill if you come on this IG live. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I'll pass that on to the next.
Yeah, good.
But all right, have a good night,
All right,
man.
buddy.
Thanks again for getting on.
I'll see you in a couple of days.
Sounds good.
All right, pal.
Peace.
See ya.